Alright guys, this is the second episode of my Dino game tutorial on Scratch. So, last episode we ended with the square, our little square guy here, and we started off with coding the jump ability. So, if I stop it, and I press go again, it's a little bit laggy, so it's a little bit slow, but you can see the premise. It kind of lags a lot right here in this area, but we made a realistic jump animation instead of just going like that. And we also created our setup and our green flag and our start game. So far we have this purple square right here, and really all he can do is jump. So we have to give him something to jump over. But first we have to set the scene. So let's go to backdrops. And first let's press this to get him in position. Let's go to backdrops and let's go to the paint area right here. And it should, in theory, yeah, there we go. Sorry. In theory, we should be able to paint a background here. And we're just gonna go with a nice little, I'll change this to brightness all the way up, and we'll change this outline, and we'll change this, the size of the pen. Ooh, that's not big enough. Change the size of the pen maybe like 3 times, so 300. Okay. Oh, looks like 100's the biggest you can go. So let's just erase this, and we can draw it in manually. So we should erase all this. Okay, we go to, sorry, it's a bit slow, but it should work. Sorry, it's lagging a bit. I'll be back when it's not lagging. Okay, so it's not lagging anymore. Sorry for that voice crack. We can turn it to green now. We'll turn it to a less saturated green. And this is maybe this will do the trick. Yeah, that'll do the trick. So we can go to line tool and we can press shift. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. We have to change the outline to green also. And let's turn down the brightness. Okay, that's good. Click away. And now, yeah, there we go. We can see it. Okay, yeah, see? But that looks a little too bright. So let's turn down the brightness just a little bit. Ooh. Okay, that's good. Oh, it's not working. Okay, good now. Perfect. That's a pretty nice shade of green. As you can see, it kind of creates a little background here. And now we should create the sky. So let's go to, whoa, that's not good. Yeah, let's go back to here. Let's go to blue, or let's change this color to blue. Let's go for a lighter blue. See what that looks like. Maybe not. Maybe a little bit lighter. A little bit brighter. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So let's just cover all of this. It's again using shift and using the line tool. I can just create lines of strips of color. Of course, you can use these tools to make more advanced backgrounds. So let's go strip by strip. And yeah, we might cut it a little fine here. Okay, that's good. So we have the horizon here. And make sure that your character is not just sat on the horizon. Because in that case, oh, that's not good. Go back to the backdrop. In that case, it looks unrealistic and it doesn't look very 3D. Of course, this is a 2D game, so it's not supposed to look very 3D. You can make 3D games. I do plan to make an episode on that, but not today. So let's just press this. Okay, as you can see, it's a little bit below the horizon. That's pretty good, yeah. Okay, so let's name this level 1. Level 1 day. Because in the dinosaur game, you can, every 600 or 700 points, you do go into a night phase. And we can add that in the future. I will do levels in the future. And this is going to be the next step. So we have our jump, but we need something to jump from. So wait, let's organize our code here. So we should have all of our messages over here. And we have our input over here. And we also have our custom block definitions over here. So let's start by creating an obstacle. So I'm just going to choose one of the sprites that Scratch gives us. So let's pick one. I'm going to go, if it loads. I'm going to go with, uh-oh, it's lagging. I'm thinking about either a ball or maybe if there's a rock. Maybe if there's a rock in the custom. Oh, there is. Okay. So let's use that. And just wait for it to load into existence. Okay, there it is. That rock is very big, so as you can see, it probably will be pretty hard to jump over it. So let's just start by going to one I receive. So remember, in the last episode, I did mention that you can have more control, and instead of using the green flag, when green flag clicked, you can use broadcasting messages and split up your messages. So you could have, in the green flag, you could have like a buffering period, or you could just go green flag straight up to setup. But in between the setup, you could have like a starting, like a play game, or like a starting screen where you could show settings and a username. So we're going to use that And instead of using when green flag is clicked, we're going to do when I receive setup. Okay. So as I said before, this is where you set your position and all of your variables to 0. So let's go all the way up. Let's set our position. Go to. So we're not going to start with the rock just over here, because the rock is going to come and it's going to be the illusion, like just in the dinosaur game, and it's going to be the illusion of rocks going, like you're running. So we're going to start with the rock at the very edge of the screen. So we're going to, when we receive setup, let's go to X, let's go 270, just so we know that it's off screen. And then we can also go -50. So we can see. Okay, that's good. Maybe we could even put this a little lower so that it'll be easier for the player. Okay, that's good. On the same plane. So now we have to deal with the problem of the rock being too big. This is a pretty easy fix. You can just go to looks on the side and you can go to size, change size, and you just set size to, depends how big you want it. I'm gonna do 50%. Let's see what happens. Okay, so for this, we're just gonna show it off. See, that's a little too small. So we're gonna go 70%. That might be a little bit too big, so let's compromise at 65. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. But since it's a little bit smaller, we're actually gonna have to decrease the Y value because it's getting closer and closer to the horizon, and we don't want that. So let's put it to -70Y. Yeah, that's better. So and then we can put it back to 270X. Let's see. Got our jumping, and we see our rock. We might have to change this to -65. It's a little too, little too far downwards. So we have this, we have our setup, and now we are going to have our loop, our rock going and going and going and then resetting. Now we don't have 100 or so rocks. We only have one, so we have to have a loop of the rock staying here, going across, and then resetting. Going across and then resetting. And so far, we're just going to keep it as a constant value. So we're going to go into events. And instead of the green flag, we're going to do when I receive setup, or wait, no, start game. So, of course, the reason why we don't have setup is because the setup is the place where if we do want to have a starting thing, it only does the starting thing. It only starts game when you broadcast start game from the setup. So if we just had when I receive setup, you wouldn't be able to have this separate from that, meaning you wouldn't be able to have a starting screen. So, and if you did have a starting screen, you'd have to hide this rock and you'd have to hide the player, draw out the starting screen using backdrop or the pen in this add extension. But I'll get into that in another episode. So we have this, we have the start game, and let's go down to control. So far, I'm going to implement levels, and I'm just going to give 3 levels. But for now, I'm just going to repeat until and then put nothing here. which means it'll repeat forever. So repeat until. I'm going to start by going to its starting position. So that's 270 and negative 65. So we start the loop in our position. Now we want to go from here to here. So we go here, and then we repeat. We go to the glide. So glide. Okay, and we want to glide all the way without changing the Y. And we just want to glide all the way to the end of the screen, which is around negative 250. So just to be safe, we're going to be negative 270. And for Y, we're going to do the same. And we're just going to go to motion. We're already in motion. And we're just going to do Y position, which means it's not changing its Y. As you can see, it's a little bit fast. So let's stop this because it's glitching. Okay. And make sure to stop your project because while you're editing it, you might edit something and it might break the game. So let's put in 3 seconds as a starting. Okay, yeah. It's kind of hard to tell now because it's kind of laggy while I record, but if you actually tested it out, it's pretty smooth. So that's a pretty nice pace for the start. I'm actually going to increase it by 1 second just because it's the starting time. And so we have a rock, but as you can see, if we don't do anything, the rock just goes right past us. So to combat that, we have to write a code for what the rock is going to do when it hits us. So we're going to get a if statement and control if statement, and we're going to do sensing and touching. If touching player. If touching player will stop this. We'll broadcast something, and then we'll stop this gliding thing. So we're stopping the game. So first we broadcast a value, and we broadcast a new message that says game over. Okay. So now everybody can every sprite, for now it's just the player, can see that this rock was touching the player, which is usually means that the game's over. So then we go to control and we go down to stop. It's lagging a little bit. So we go to stop and we put it under here. Now, not stop all because that would stop all of the scripts, but you stop this script after you broadcast it. Make sure this is after you broadcasted game over, because if you put it before that, but you can't because it's a closed-ended script. But if you did stop this script or other scripts in this sprite, and you went like that, and you put the broadcast game over below that, then it would just cancel out the broadcast. So stop the script after you broadcasted this. So while I go to player, I'm going to do where my broadcasting area is. Ooh, just wait. It's catching up. There it is. So where my broadcasting area is, so right here, I'm going to go to events, and I'm going to, when I receive, yeah, and see it already has it. When I receive, game over. And then I'm going to do stop this, or stop other scripts in this sprite, and also stop this script. So that stops everything, the rock and this. So we're also going to create a new backdrop, and we're going to choose the paint, and we're just going to write one little thing. First, we're going to paint this all black because we need a clean slate to write on. We're just going to do it all black. Whoa. Or not, I guess, which is fine. We can just color it. Okay, so as you can see, Scratch is kind of hard on your computer because it uses a lot of CPU. So people with not very strong computers like me, it's kind of difficult to use. But people with MacBooks or Windows 10 can use this pretty well, pretty smoothly. So we'll just slowly but surely cover all of this. So as you can see, even though my mouse doesn't exactly correspond to what's happening on the screen immediately, it does eventually happen. So I'm just rubbing or putting my cursor back and forth and coloring all of the screen black. Now, of course, if you did have a smoother computer, you could just outline the around here and then fill it with this. Uh-oh. But since we have another backdrop, we need to set this to game over. So let's just wait for it to go. Sometimes it does take a while. In fact, my computer might be frozen right now. Unfortunately. Okay, so I did manage to get out of it, but I will be right back. So as you can see, I did name this game over, and I'm going back to the player, the script for the player. And of course, since I'm recording, it will take a long time. And we don't want to go to costumes. we want to go to the code, and hopefully we can switch. Yep. So we can, when we set up, we should be looks, and it should, yep, switch to backdrop. We don't want game over because we don't want this black screen. We want the nice level 1 day. So let's see. Okay, let's move this over. Yep. Okay. So it looks like this is moving and you're running. So this is standing still and you're running. And you can see. Unfortunately, it does not. It does not work with the if I'm touching. And this is a challenge that I encountered while I was coding my first dinosaur game. And I found a reason why. It's because if the player is touching, it's only touching for a little bit and it checks. And then it checks, but when it checks, it gets touched and then it's gone. But by the time it checks, the rock is already gone. So if you instead put a forever loop and it's already checking, it's always checking if the player is touching the rock. So let's go put this here. And now we should, in theory, huh, now that's weird. It might be, because I'm in the same script. Okay. And let's just stop all because that achieves the same premise as stopping both scripts. So let's go to stop, and this should all. Let's go to stop all. So now when it touches, it should stop everything. So when I receive start game, so now let's check. And as you can see, it did stop and it did completely halt the game because this rock was touching the player. Okay, that's been today's episode. Thank you for watching. Next episode will be on the game over screen and also moving objects to create the illusion of a moving background. Thank you for watching and bye.